What is going on, Washington football team fans? This is the Washington Football Report podcast and YouTube video. My name is JD. We're going to dive right into this. The Washington football team played the Buffalo Bills this weekend and got absolutely obliterated. A lot of things that were the reason why we lost. I will be going over that in depth. But before I do, please hit the subscribe button, notification bell. You videos like this all the time. If you're actually watching this on YouTube, I'm trying this with I have a new program that actually do like a film with the camera. I haven't been able to do that recently. Because I like to do split screen. I like to show what I'm doing. If you listen to this on podcasts, this doesn't matter. But basically, I'm on ESPN.com and I'm going through all the stats of the game. There is a lot of things to unpack with this game. A lot of things that I believe is going on. A lot of things I think is going to be we're going to need to do going forward. A lot of reasons why I think we're not playing very well, so on and so forth. So we're gonna dive into this. We're gonna unpack this. But like I said, subscribe, hit notification bell, all that good jazz, and we're gonna get started here. So if you look at the game, we're just gonna look straight up at the box score. Starting out, Taylor Heinicke did 14 of 24. Not too bad. I don't think it's horrible by any stretch. He didn't play great, but he didn't play bad. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and he had a rushing touchdown. So not bad in a general sense. There was a huge population on Twitter who, as soon as Taylor Heinicke threw 1 interception, they just want to like tank the rest of the season and go for a guy in the draft, which might just happen by chance if we don't turn some of these things around. But I don't think Taylor Heinicke played bad. I don't think Taylor Heinicke's losing we lost this game. I think there's a lot of reasons why we lose this game. And I'm going to dive into a lot of those here in a minute. I'm going to go... Actually, I want to go over what Buffalo did. Josh Allen was 32 of 43, 358 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. Our secondary just absolutely got obliterated. He got a rushing touchdown as well, so he had 5 total touchdowns against us. And then Emmanuel Sanders tore us apart. Stephon Diggs, we kind of eliminated him, but it's the secondary players that we didn't stop. We didn't stop Emmanuel Sanders from being effective. We didn't stop Cole Beasley from being effective. We didn't stop. I mean, that's pretty much the 2 that killed us was Cole Beasley and Emmanuel Sanders. If we wouldn't let those 2 beat us, you're looking at Stephon Diggs 6 catches, 62 yards, not a huge effect. Zach Moss kind of effective out of the backfield. But really, the 2 that killed us was the second and third receiver, Cole Beasley and Emmanuel Sanders. Those are the 2 guys that really killed us in this game. In 1 second, take a drink of my drink. All right. Going down. Okay, so I'm going to get into the team stats, and then this will really go into my first point of this game. First off, team stats. 29 first downs to Washington's 13. It's almost 3 times as many. So you're not going to win any game if the opponent's getting way more first downs, passes for first downs. The first drive of the game, we had a 3rd and 15, and we give up 17 yards. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. It's not. There's a lot of things that have to be fixed with this. But I'm going to go over the stats first, and then I'll go over what I think is wrong with this team and where the blame and then where the fixes need to be coming. Okay, so 3rd down officially 9 of 15. Yep, you're not going to beat anyone doing that. Total plays 50 to 77. Total yards 290, 481. Really, the big ones is penalties didn't really kill us that much. They weren't like the giant factor in my footages. There we go. Time of possession was a big one. Had the ball 11 more minutes than we did. 3 turnovers was a big one in this as well. But the thing is that where 2 of those turnovers happened, we bounced right back and made the game competitive again. It wasn't like we got those 3 turnovers and they like blew us out of the water. We bounced back from 2 of them for sure in the first half, and we made up for them. We got to 14 to 21 very quickly after we already had 2 of these turnovers. The Logan Thomas fumble, which I'm not mad at Logan Thomas for that fumble. He's trying to make a play. The offense is. I'm more mad at the offensive coordinator when it comes to this team's offense. And I'll get to that whenever I get to the offense. And then he also had interceptions thrown. I think he threw 2. He didn't play great, but then he also threw 2 touchdowns. He ran for a touchdown, and I don't think we lost because of Heinicke. Okay, so here's to me the real reason why we lost. Our defense needs a complete overhaul of its scheme. First off, both of our defensive ends are playing like selfish assholes. And I will say it like that, and if you want to come at me, come at me. Both of our defensive ends are playing like selfish assholes. If you watch the game, Chase Young has one move. Go as wide as possible, over pursue, leave a gigantic gap for the quarterback to scramble and extend plays, which Josh Allen's capable of it. If this was Ben Roethlisberger, I'd say no, don't go ahead and do that because he can't step up, he can't run, he's too slow. He'll get sacked. There's a lot of times where Chase Young goes so wide, there's this gaping hole that just Josh Allen can just take off and extend plays and so on and so forth. And that's exactly what he did. One of his first touchdowns was like that, to Zach Moss. Chase Young went so wide, he threw it to Zach Moss. Zach Moss, got in the end zone. Okay? You're selfish. You're being selfish. You're trying to get your stats. You're not trying to play assignment football. Same thing I said last week whenever we were playing the Giants. And they're trying to, both of our defenses, not just Chase Young. Montez Sweat's trying to get that down the line tackle for loss to get that highlight play instead of playing assignment football, and Daniel Jones pulls it and runs for 90 yards. Okay? And he did it multiple times. And in this game, Josh Allen really wasn't effective running the ball. Let me just double check that stat, make sure I'm not lying there. Yeah, Josh Allen didn't do much. Mitch Trubisky kind of did, but not Josh Allen. So that's the first issue. Second, we need to. Tell me. Let me ask this. What is the point of Washington switching to or signing players? What is the point of Washington signing players that can play man-to-man, that are good at man-to-man, if we're not going to play man-to-man? It doesn't make any damn sense. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to say a name people hate. As much as I hated Bruce Allen, this is a Bruce Allen trick. This is a Bruce Allen thing. Sign a player who has a skill set, and then don't modify anything you're doing to fit that skill set. Okay? We signed William Jackson III because he was a great one-on-one cover corner. And now we're having him play zone. What is the point in that? There's not a point in that. There's no logical reason that you sign someone that has that capability, and then you just go ahead and you have him play zone. No, you sign him for the fact that he has a skill set where he can one-on-one cover very well. You have Kendall Fuller, who you signed because he can one-on-one cover a slot very well. You have a guy you drafted in Benjamin St. Juice, who can cover very well. I don't understand your logic when you want to go to a zone. Here's the problem with the zone that I have. Zone makes it so no one's accountable. You can literally just have finger pointing left and right, and no one's accountable. That's the problem that I personally have with the zone. This is why I coach high school basketball. I think I mentioned this in my last video. Coach high school basketball. And Washington, when I coach high school basketball, man-to-man, you have a responsibility. It's your guy. In a zone, like if you ever played basketball, you look at a 2-3 zone, there's two guys at the top of a zone. And if you're in the middle of that, you can pass fake one way and the guy's going to move, and the other guy, you can pass fake both ways, I think it's split, and then you're wide open. Okay, if you throw it to any gap in the zone, like a 2-3 zone, you have someone that has a responsibility to cover you, but you also have the possibility that, there's that like old moment where, oh, you got it or I got it. And then that's when the zone breaks down, because now you have a guy uncovered with uncertainty, and now someone's going to scramble to cover him, and then the zone breaks down. Or you can penetrate the zone because no one committed to stopping you from getting inside the zone. Okay, that's basketball talk, but the same thing applies to football. If you have a zone and you have gaps in the zone and someone comes into an area, who covers him? Okay? This happened on the touchdown pass. The touchdown pass, the guy goes from the corner towards the safety to the back corner of the end zone. Whose responsibility is that? If that's a man-to-man coverage, the guy who's covering him is responsible for it. Very straightforward. Zone? No. With the zone, everyone's looking at the quarterback instead of focusing on the guy they're supposed to be covering. And that's kind of like what I don't personally like about the defensive scheme that we have right now. Is way too much zone. We have way too much zone going on. Now, I understand to a point why we have zone. Because Washington likes to put John Bostic on the field, and he's not fast enough to cover anyone, but he can cover an area pretty okay. But even in that, he breaks down. He covers the wrong guy, and a safety or another linebacker has to cover his screw-ups. So the zone doesn't work for me. You're better off just playing man-to-man, and having straight man-to-man coverage across the board, and try to win that way. Because your defense, the whole point of a zone is it takes longer. A zone master deficiencies is what it does. If John Bostic sucks, you can literally put him in an area where he covers an area rather than a person, and it doesn't show how slow he is. Even though his recovery of getting to a guy in that area to tackle him is very slow, it masks the fact that you have a guy in coverage that's not very slow. John Bostic should just be the blitzing linebacker all the time because he can't cover. And Jamin Davis and Cole Holcomb are even better. And here's the other thing about our secondary. And I just said Cole Holcomb, a good compliment to Cole Holcomb. Cole Holcomb, and I don't know if it's him or scheme, but it's like a 3rd and 8, and he's playing behind the first down marker. And a guy like Cross in front of him, he doesn't cover him because he's playing a zone rather than playing a man. He's playing a guy, we can look at that and say, this guy needs to be covered by this guy. Breakdown right there, that guy needs to have his technique fixed or whatever. We're not having that. The zone really is screwing up matchups. It's screwing up. Basically, what teams can do is they can find a guy in a zone and exploit him, and that's what John Bostic does. And also, like for example, we're about to play Atlanta. Jamin Davis is the only person really in college last year that had any effect covering him. So if you play man and Jamin Davis covers him man-wise, he can be man on the whole game and pretty much, he might neutralize him. I'm not saying he will, but it's possible he can neutralize him the entire game with a man. With the zone, all they got to do is if Jamin Davis is good at covering him, Jamin Davis is playing the strong side linebacker, and the Sam instead of the Will, all they got to do is swap the tight end to the other side of the field, and now John Bostic's covering him. John Bostic can't hold his jockstrap. Okay, so that's the issue I'm having with the way our defense is constructed from the back end. The second thing, I think, the defensive, also the other thing about the zone, it takes more time for a play to develop usually because you got to find the soft spot in the zone, and that gives our defensive line time to get there. The problem with that right now is our defensive line, we're not going straight for the quarterback. We're not playing lanes. We're playing selfish football where guys aren't playing wide. There's a really good video by HTTR for Life. I'll link it if you want. It's Marcellus, who is it? I forget the guy. It's not Marcellus Wiley, it's another guy. But basically what he does is he goes over in depth on what they're doing wrong and what should have been sacks and what should have been coverage sacks or whatever are not, because the quarterback can just go to these gaps where they're over pursuing by Chase Young or Montez Sweat, and it's a non-factor basically. So Jack Del Rio needs to, I think it's just way too passive is the best way to put it. We're way too passive. We're not aggressive. We're not doing man coverage and forcing them to make plays. We're letting them get the ball out. It's a very soft defense, the best way to put it. And if it's 3rd and 15 and they have to get 15 yards and everyone's manned up, you have accountability. There's no accountability with this defense. Okay, I'm sure there's a way to do accountability, but the best way for accountability to me, if it's man to man, you know the guy you're covering. You cover that guy. If he runs from the left side of the field all the way to the right side, your ass follows him. That's how you have accountable defense. And so that's the defense part. That's the biggest flaw we're having right now. We went from a top 2 defense last year to a bottom tier right now. We're like the 31st worst defense. So, and those things can be fixed very easily. You get more disciplined on the defensive pass rush. You get more sacks. Quarterbacks are getting rid of the ball quicker and they're not throwing, like, they can't throw the ball 15 yards to get a first down. They have to throw the ball at 3 yards, and the guy has to try to run for 1. That's how you become more effective. It's very, I won't say it's easy, but it's a very simple fix. Honestly, it's a simple fix if you just do the little things. Okay? And I honestly think if we do a little bit of press coverage, we have decent cornerback guys. We honestly do have a pretty deep cornerback room. Okay, we have Kendall Fuller, we have William Jackson III, we have Benjamin St. Juste, Dale Rogers is still pretty good. We have Troy Apke is at least fast, and then also this is the one drastic change I would make on the defense right now. I would sit John Bostic's ass down, and you do one of 2 things. Honestly, I think that the latter of these 2 is the best thing, but I'll give both options. You let me know what you think in the comment section. The first thing to do is play Cleek Hudson rather than playing John Bostic. John Bostic is only thing he can do is play in the run support. He's very bad at pass protection. He's very slow. Khalil Hudson at least has the speed to cover. He may not be the size we need. Okay, and that's where the next option is going to come in. But at least he's fast enough to cover people. And that's where he'll have a little bit of benefit. I guess there's 3 options now. I'm going to give you 3 options. But that's one option you can go with. If you want to go that route, that'd be great because Cleek Hudson. Another option you can go with, and this is an option that was presented in the offseason, which I think the more and more I watch this team, I think this actually makes more sense, is you run like a 4-2 kind of defense, and you bring up, rather than running, Bostic, you bring up Landon Collins and run him at linebacker. He's at least got the speed and the tenacity to cover guys. And he's still very good in the running game, so you're not going to lose anything there. And you're basically going to have good coverage. It's going to solve 2 of your issues. You have a better guy in coverage, and Landon College isn't great at he's more of a box corner anyway, so put him in the box, make him a linebacker. And just have him play like a certain side of the ball, like weak side or strong side. Have Cole Holcomb and Jamin Davis, have them cover the other side, and have him cover the weak side or whatever. He's better at that anyway. He's better at that part and playing closer to the line of scrimmage than he is playing deep. And then that opens up McCain, and it also opens up Curl to be your safeties. And what I would do is whatever Landon College side's on, I would play Curl opposite of that. Okay, that's what I would do personally, because then you have 2 guys that can support the run, and you have McCain will basically always be playing deep on the strong side. That's the best way I can put it. But that's one solution. The other solution was Cleek Hudson, and then you still are rotating your safeties. The third option is you just forego having another linebacker at all, and you start running a 5-2. Because here's what that would do. That would fix a lot of things when it comes to running game, pass game, whatever. If you run a 5-2 with John Payne in the middle, Allen and Ioannidis, if Ioannidis is healthy, and then Sweat and Chase Young. By the way, who the hell's putting Chase Young back in pass coverage? Like, that's just freaking stupid. Jack Del Rio should have lost his job because of that. You don't put him back in pass coverage. I'm taking a drink of my drink real quick. Okay, you don't put him back in pass coverage. This is stupid. Okay? The other option is to go 5-2. You go a 5-2, 5-down lineman. What that's going to do a couple things. One, you can actually play your defensive ends a little wider and angled, and it's going to cut down C-gap. It's going to destroy C-gap. You're not going to be able to block them because they're going to be so concerned about blocking the 3-down linemen in the interior that it's going to put Chase and Montez Sweat 1-on-1. Not to mention everyone in the interior will be 1-on-1 as well. So 5-down linemen match up with a 5 offensive linemen, and everyone's going to get a 1-on-1 battle. And we have guys that can win 1-on-1 battles. So we just got to play more disciplined. But it's also going to shut down the run game. Run games will be very hard. And it's also going to make it very difficult for run game, any team we run against, to get to that second level. And that would just leave us with Cole Holcomb and Jamin Davis in at linebacker, and then we still have our safeties. I know it's not ideal. It's the NFL. You can't exactly do a 5-2 consistently, just because teams pass so much, and that only leaves 6 guys in pass coverage, and you got to cover a lot of ground. And in that case, you'll be forced to play zone because you don't want anything to get deep or whatever the case may be. You have less guys back there to tackle if someone happens to catch a ball in the secondary, basically. So that's what I would do to fix the defense. It's one of those 3 things. I mean, the third option is pretty extreme, but it would really smother the run and make teams very one-dimensional. And then you just gotta get creative with your scheming. I don't think we're scheming. What I honestly think we're doing is I think Jack Del Rio has kind of rested on his laurels that we have 4 first-round draft picks on our defensive line, and they're just gonna go get the quarterback, and we're just gonna sit back in the zone and wait for them to get sacks. Okay, or they're going to get rid of the ball quick, and we just got to run up and tackle. That's not a bad strategy if you get into the quarterback. But when you don't get the quarterback, that strategy falls flat on its face. And you got to find something that's going to work. If your defensive linemen get to the quarterback from here on out, that strategy will work. And you're just basically playing, I won't say a prevent defense, but you're not letting anything get deep. You're not letting the big play happen. And I get that strategy. But you have to get to the offensive line to do that. Or get through the offensive line to the quarterback to do that. And it's just not happening at the moment. quarterbacks are getting way too comfortable, they're having way too much time to throw, so on and so forth. We have a team that was like top 10 in the league in sacks easily last year. We're like not even close right now. It's horrible. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the offense. I'm just going to go through some players real quick, and then I will talk about in more depth on some other things. So again, I don't blame Taylor Heinicke. I think Taylor Heinicke was put in a bad spot. He make some bad decisions, sure. But I think he played as well as he could under the rest. There's also a lot of plays that he did. So I'll give an example. There's a couple drops that were pretty big by Logan Thomas. J.D. McKissick had a pretty big drop out in the open space. Gibson had one out in the open space. It would have been a touchdown. You also have Johnny Brown was just dropping them left and right. I mean, that guy's a freaking bum. I'm sorry. Maybe he'll be better whenever. Maybe he'll be better when we actually get Curtis Samuel back, and he's not in the second receiver role all the time. But he is a garbage receiver right now. He's catching wide open slants. He's dropping wide open passes. He doesn't go get the ball. I think what it is, if he has like different coverage, he'll probably do a little bit better. Honestly, I do think that. But he's just not played well. He's not played well at all. Logan Thomas, he plays okay, but for some reason I don't feel like we're looking for him in the offense very much. McLaurin did okay. It just wasn't a good game, and Antonio Gibson is probably one of our best offensive. Him and McLaurin are easily our best offensive players. Now, here's where I'm going to go in a little bit on the offensive coordinator. For the third game in a row, week one against the what's on the game cast? Well, let me see if it actually shows this. Okay, so week one, I'm not going to do that. Week one, his first three plays were passes, and we had a 3-and-out. Week two, first three plays were passes. We had a 3-and-out. Week three, he actually, ran the ball first play. I'm sorry, he did not run the ball. He ran the ball first play. He passed the ball first play. Then he ran the ball on a 2nd and 10 for nothing, and then he threw the ball on 3rd down. And again, it was a drop pass. No, actually, I think he did run the ball. He ran the ball on 1st down. I'm sorry, he ran the ball on 1st down. Gibson got like 8 yards, and then we couldn't convert on the next 2 plays. Some stupid rub route to convert on 1st down. On 3rd down was called back, and stuff like that. We need to be better at running those kind of. Everyone runs those plays. This Washington's horrible at it because we're not playing stupid. Like we're looking to pass and get in someone's way. But I have a serious issue with the way that what's his name is calling this game. If you look at our stats right here, so we had 25 Scott Turner. Okay, that's his name. If you look at our rushing stats, we had 25 carries in this game. Now let me backtrack for 2 seconds. 8 of them were not design runs. There might have been one design run, which was like a QB sneak. Okay, 8 of them were not design runs because those Taylor Heinicke running in getting like extra yards and running for a touchdown. They weren't designed that way. So that's a quarterback improvising. So knock 8 of those off of that. So in this game we had 17 rushes. Last game, so Antonio Gibson had 12 carries in this game. Total targets, he had 14 total touches, basically. He was attempted to get him the ball 14 times. Antonio Gibson is our best offensive weapon. Him and Taylor Heinicke are. You're looking at an offensive coordinator that is getting our best weapons the ball. In this game, I'll go back to the other game if you want to see it. This game, 18 touches right now. 18 touches a game. 18 touches in this game. We lost this game because on 50 plays, we ran 50 plays in this game. Antonio Gibson and Terry McLaurin only touched the ball. Well, they only touched the ball 12, 13, 17 times. That is why we're losing these games. We're losing these games because this is why we lost this game. And we lost week 1 because of similar reasons. We're not trying to get our playmakers the ball. Okay? It says on here that McLaurin was targeted 7. Okay, so let's add up all the targets as well. So 7 plus 2, that's 9. Plus Antonio Gibson ran the ball 12 times. So that's 21 times out of 50 possessions that we tried to get the ball to our two best offensive weapons. That's not a good number. That's not good statistically at all when it comes to being successful in offense. Let's look at how many times they try to get Stephon Diggs the ball over here, over on the Buffalo side. 10 times. Their best receiver, they try to get the ball 10 times. Okay, and then you have their other weapons that got the ball too. But they're trying to get their best players the ball. Okay? Antonio Gibson is their best player. And the problem we're having with our, I don't think our offense is actually that big a deal. And I'm going to take a second to say, I don't think our offensive line is an issue. I think our offensive line is actually very good. I think our offensive line, to this point in the season, has played phenomenal. They were top rated in run blocking. They're number one in the league, like 80% effective run blocking. I think that's what they were going into this game. So they were good at run blocking, and they also have not given up that many sacks at all. So it's not like Taylor Heineke's not back there like running for his life or anything. Yeah, they got one sack in this game. The Buffalo Bills did. And we were passing a lot because we were down so much. And our offensive coordinator, this is something I've learned in when I was when I played football and when I coached football. I used to coach football for youth league and then some high school. And I played a year in college as well. So this is learning all this stuff. You run a play to set up other plays. You run the ball to set up the play action so you can pass off of running the ball. There's no threat to run the ball or no play action threat at all. The play action with Washington is non-existent because you're not setting up the run. You're not setting up the defense to see the turn and hand the ball off action and playing up and then getting the ball. There's so many times we watch plays where there's like a fake and then a rollout. If you watch any NFL, you'll know this. There's always a play where there's a fake and then a rollout and a quarterback bootlegs and hits like a tight end or a fullback coming right underneath the coverage to catch and get him out in space. Happens all the time, except with our team. Jay Gruden did the same exact crap. Never set up the run. Never set up play action. Okay? Consistently, we're running dumb plays. Like for example, this happened against the Giants, not so much against this team. Against the Giants, it's like 2nd and 10 on the second drive of the game. And rather than making it look like you're trying to pass again, he brings in like basically a 22 package, which is or 12 package, I think it's called 12, where it's 2 tight ends, and it's a power run on 2nd and 10. Give the allure of passing. Open up the field for the running back if you're gonna in runner's roll or something. Okay, open up the field, and I saw this on Monday Night Football, the Cowboys versus the Eagles. And the announcer said this, and they said Bob Ross. And it's like, well, Bob Ross is an artist, so it's probably going to be a draw. And they had 5 wide receivers. They had maybe a tight end on the field, but they had 4 wide receivers, a tight end, and they also had a running back. And the play, or I'm sorry, yeah, it wouldn't have been 5 wide receivers then. It would have been at least 3 and a tight end and then a running back, or at least 4 wide receivers and a running back. And they called a draw. In the draw, everyone was spread out. Linebackers were not in the middle. Basically, if the defensive line doesn't make that tackle, you're getting at least 3 or 4 yards because linebackers are playing in coverage, so they got to come up to make the tackle. Okay, and there's just things. It's just not making sense. Why we're on like, and this is just dumb things that Dallas did. Dallas did this too when I watched that game. But why are we running reverses to Nami Brown? Why are we running reverse? Why are we running reverses? That Cam Sims actually had a pretty decent rush. Why are we running reverses? Just play normal football. Run the ball. Establish the run. Establish a play action, and keep the defense guessing. We're so bad at play calling right now that teams are like literally. We had an issue last year where if Jeremy Sprinkle was on the field, we were running the football. That was the whole issue under the Jay Gruden era. That it was very telegraphed. Okay, we have an option now where we can actually go either route on this. We can go with Logan Thomas, John Bates on the field and still pass. We don't have to worry about the fact that we're just not doing those things. We're not play actioning properly. I just don't think we're having a good balance. And people think that there are literally people out there that think that what's his name is actually doing pretty well at offensive coordinator. I don't by any stretch think he is. I think he's doing horrible. I think he got the job just because of his father's name, and I don't think he's good at all. Okay? And the one game we won, let's just be realistic for a second. The one game right now that Washington has won, we only won because the Giants screwed up a lot. Okay? We only won because the Giants made a lot of mistakes. The Giants made a lot of mistakes and screwed up a lot, and that's the only reason we won those games. Okay? And when you get down more to it with the offensive coordinating, like against the Giants, which was a close game, 22 total rushes, and 4 of them were Heineke, so you're looking at about 18 rushes. That's not good. Okay, let's look at the Giants, who lost the game, ran the ball 28 times. I mean, none of them were, to be fair, none of them were Daniel Jones. But they're not. There's got to be more of an establishment of running. You have to be more of an establishment to try to run the ball, especially when we're having a decently rated offensive line. If we didn't have a good offensive line and they were really good at pass blocking, I would say, yeah, 100%, throw the ball as often as possible, just to protect our quarterback. Or just protect our quarterback. But that's not the case right now. The problem is right now is Washington's not running the ball at all, and that's one of our best assets right now. I'm looking at something really quick with box score. When we played the Los Angeles, they ran the ball 29 times. 25 of them were non-quarterbacks. Okay, 25 of them. Now, we actually ran the ball pretty decent that game, and the game was close. That's the only reason it was close. But why we went away from that, I don't know. I said it before, we're not going to win games with Taylor Heineke throwing the ball 40 times. We might win a game once in a while, but we only won that game because the Giants screwed up a lot. Let's be honest here. Okay? This season is going to be shaping up to be very, very tough to watch if Washington is not fixing these issues. And I'm sure, Ron, look how many times Buffalo ran the football. 33 times, and only Mr. Trubisky ran 4, Josh ran 4. I think those are scrambles, so let's take those 8 out. So they ran the ball 25 times. Okay? And, yeah, I mean, look at their 2 starting running backs. 2 main running backs got the ball 24 times minimum. And then you have Isaiah McKenzie. So, what am I getting at with this? I think our offensive line, our offense is better than we've given it credit. I think Taylor Heineke definitely kind of unlocks the offense a little bit. He definitely has like an it factor that helps the offense. I do think that is the case. But we're having the same kind of issues we had in the past. Dummy Brown dropping passes. Not finding the main or our best players. Taylor Heineke really was a non-factor in this game. We weren't finding him. Antonio Gibson gets thrown the ball one time and gets 73 yards, and he never touched the ball again. Never. He got one more target in the game. That was when he dropped a touchdown pass, or a pass where he was rolling towards the end zone. So, never touched the ball again. Why? Does that make sense to anyone watching this video? Or listening to this on a podcast? Doesn't make any sense at all. Antonio Gibson only has 1 reception for 73 yards and 1 touchdown. And never touched the ball again. And that was midway through the second quarter. Or beginning of the second quarter, I should say. Why does he not touch the ball again? How is an offensive coordinator still holding his job when you have a player like him who only touched the ball 1 time and you don't go back to him ever again in the game? It doesn't make sense to me. And everyone praises Scott Turner and thinks it's other issues. The issue, it's not the quarterback, it's the coach. You're having your quarterback. I wonder how many times he actually dropped back. That's what I'm actually curious about. I want to see if that stat's available. If I can just see a stat that says how many times Taylor Heineke actually dropped back, it's not going to tell me. Because if he dropped back like 50 times and only threw the ball 24, or like something happened and he ran, I guess you can kind of figure out 24 times. He got sacked once. That's 25. And he ran the ball 8 times. So that's like 33, I guess. So 33 times he threw the ball in this game. So, all right, so I'm pretty much done talking about this game. Washington looked pathetic. Buffalo Bill looked like the Buffalo Bills. And, I mean, we made an attempt to bounce back. We made a valiant attempt in the second quarter, but our defense just could not hold up. Our defense could not get off the field on 3rd down longs. First drive of the game, 3rd and 15, and can't get off the field. And then they end up getting a touchdown out of it. So there's a lot of things that transpire that are our fault. I don't like the officiating. I think the officiating was pretty bad in this game. I don't like to blame the officiating. But, my goodness. Sorry, I have a phone call missed. Sorry. And yeah, I wasn't gonna answer. I was just gonna decline it. So there's a lot of things in this game that are just not that weren't transpiring. And here's the other thing: we had 10 days to prepare for this game. 10 days. In those 10 days, we couldn't fix the defensive lines. We couldn't fix the defensive line. We couldn't notice as an offensive coordinator that you need to get your best player the football, your best players the football. There's just a lot of things that are going wrong. And hopefully Washington I'm actually kind of glad we got the shit kicked out of us. And pardon my French, but I'm really glad we got the ever-living shit kicked out of us. This team needed a wake-up call. If we had another game where we won a close one or we lost by a little bit, literally the coach staff can just look there like, hey, we did really well. They just had more big plays than us. No, getting the ever-living crap kicked out of us is a blessing in disguise, because now there is a focus. There is a media pressure focus that's going to come with questions about all this stuff, and I can't wait. I can't wait to hear all these issues being talked about in the media. Hopefully more of this stuff gets out, that all these film analysis and things like that, and people start asking like real questions, like let's give an example. Why is Chase Young not going straight up field? Why is he going at such a wide angle? And Ron's going to either say he's doing his own thing, or he's saying it's part of the scheme. If he's doing his own thing, why aren't you disciplining your player? Why do you not have control over your best player? And if he's doing the scheme, why is your scheme to go as wide as possible? So that's just one example. I hope with more game film and things like that, the actual media, I wish I was a member of the media, but I'm not. I'm just a guy who likes to do a YouTube channel about my favorite football team. I would gladly ask these questions. I wonder altogether if they actually if that's like the strategy. If it's a strategy, it's a horrible one, and I blame the coaches. But if it's not strategy, I blame the players, and then I also blame the coaches in that regard, because you're letting the players do something they're not run the strategy you have set in place. So I'm not going to go any further with this. This has been the Washington Football Report, and hail to the Redskins. Everyone have a good and blessed day. See you.